ask you for your list, let me ask you just, let's go back and review. What do you need for imagery analysis? What's the function of imagery analysis? You're analyzing an image. What are you looking at? How are you doing this? What are the concepts that you remember when we started talking about it at the beginning of the unit? Yes, Chelsea. That's symbol. That's symbol. Yes. Okay, so imagery, the definition is description appealing to any of the 5 senses. Sophie's correct, that's the definition. What's your analytical method? Yes, Emmy. Thank you. Your 2 concepts are the denotation and the connotation of words. Remember, you must look at the unit of the word. That's your unit of study. Words or phrases. Which means when you're writing about this, what do I expect to see? You're writing about this, what do I expect to see in the paragraph of imagery analysis? If your unit is the word or the phrase, I don't even need to see those words. What's your support, folks? Speak up. People whispering, that doesn't help, whether you're right or wrong. How can you look at the unit of the word if you're not quoting the word? If you want to engage in imagery analysis, for me, you must hold up a word and say, look at this word, look at its connotation and denotation. This is what she's doing with it. So we must look at connotation and denotation. We must pull out quotations, and we must examine them. To what end? In imagery analysis, what's the purpose? If I want to pull out a paragraph and I say I'm going to pull out that paragraph, let's think about Amber's that she brought up, the staticky, crackly phone, the conversation when Naomi finds out that her uncle has died. I'm going to talk about how the phone is staticky and crackly. What's the purpose of my imagery analysis? What am I trying to show or explain? What is the author trying to convey? And what could the author be trying to convey, Ian? In that case, what did we think that Kogawa was trying to convey? It's okay, you've got the right answer, so I'll go over to Michael. Okay, so this could be mood. We could be talking about the emotion of the character or the emotion that the audience is supposed to feel. Could be mood. What else could we be trying to develop or convey? Anybody remember when we were discussing? I thought we had a marvelous discussion when we were talking about that moment of imagery. Yeah, we were talking about the motif of silence. It could also be developing something bigger, like a theme. It could also just be giving you the sense of the plot, and how to feel about the plot, or a plot conflict coming up, or some event coming up. It could also tell you something about the character. But regardless, your imagery analysis does not stay here. It starts here. It goes there. This will become clear through example. Turn to chapter 30, page 240. On the test, I will give you quotations, passages, just like this one. No, this one's not on the test. I'll give you a passage like this, and I'll say, give me an imagery analysis, and that'll basically be it. And I'll say, give me a 1 paragraph to 2 paragraph imagery analysis of this passage. So let's take a look at it. The only other place that is cool is the root cellar, which is an earth-covered mound over a cave-like excavation the length of a garage, angling underground in a slow slope. There are boxes and sacks and piles of potatoes and other vegetables lining the shelves. I cannot stand the odor of decaying potatoes in this damp tomb, but on certain days I am so dizzy from hoeing in the heat that Uncle carries me here, leaving the door open so that I can breathe. All right, if we're starting at the unit of the word, what words or phrases do you really want to focus your attention on for the imagery? Jessica, give me something that you think is pretty interesting in terms of the imagery that you want to focus on in your analysis. Damp tomb, good word. What else? Decaying potatoes. Yes, that's rather disgusting right there. Thank you. Give me more. Sophie, give me something that you think really brings the feeling of the imagery to light, or brings the imagery to you, helps you see it, helps you feel it. Earth-covered mound, absolutely. So we're talking about something being buried in the dirt. Michael? Cave-like excavation, certainly. More? Theron, pick out one more. Anything that you think is worthy of our attention. A slow slope, okay. You ever notice that she likes her alliteration? It's all over the place in the novel. So slow slope, good. Angling underground. Okay, so this is not above ground. This is something buried deep in the earth. We will focus our attention on that. We'll do a connotation denotation analysis, and that basically means damp tomb means that it is dark and wet. But what's the connotation of damp tomb? Creepy. Okay. Let's use some more sophisticated words than creepy, because creepy to me means somebody's creeping on the ground. Yes. Okay. It could give you a feeling of claustrophobia. It could give you a feeling of being trapped. What else could it give you a feeling of? A place of death. Absolutely. It's associated with death and claustrophobia. Damp tomb. Is it comfortable or uncomfortable? Uncomfortable. This is a place I don't want to be. That's your connotation denotation analysis. And you practice it for whatever you feel is really important. So you've done step one. Step two is to tell me why the author's doing this. Why is the author presenting this type of imagery at this point in the novel? Emmy. Excellent. So the struggles that they're going through, I love where you're going, Emmy. Where are they living right now? Yeah, but what's the name of the town? This is Granton. Emmy, what was the place they were living right before Granton? Come on, this slow can go, right? Is the move, Emmy, from Slocan to Granton a happy one, or does this make their situation worse? Yeah, it's definitely making their situation worse. So Emmy's absolutely correct, and I'm providing some focus to what she said. Why does Kogawa create this imagery? To emphasize that this family's situation is worsening. To give you the feeling that Naomi and the rest of them feel in Granton. Were they happy in Slocan? Yeah. Remember fields of butterflies and mountainsides and them running around creeks and foraging for mushrooms and other sorts of wonderful vegetables? I remember that. That was imagery of beauty, imagery of happiness. Contrasted with this, Kogawa's style and her purpose is clear. And this is what I would write. Kogawa uses imagery to emphasize the discomfort Naomi feels when living in Granton. She details the alternating heat and mud of this place to build a feeling of pain and frustration year-round. Among other images, she describes the root cellar, a setting buried in the earth. She describes it as a cave-like excavation, implying darkness and the fear of isolation. The smell of decaying potatoes lingers in the cellar, disgusting the reader and Naomi. Naomi enters this place when she has become disoriented from hoeing in the heat. This place, despite providing some amount of comfort, carries the devastation felt by Naomi and her family in their hard life in Granton. And that's what I'm looking for on the test. Obviously not as, maybe not with the sort of language or the smoothness that I've got here, because I've been doing this for years. But basically this structure is what I'm looking for in the test. MJ. You can, or you can use description or any one of a number of synonyms. Count, Emmy? Yes, they stayed in Granton, they just moved up in Granton. Which I think is Kogawa's way of saying that they will never truly heal from this. They can never truly go back, so they stay in Granton. But I know I'm running through this quickly. Topic, claim sentence. Expansion on the claim sentence. Supporting detail with my connotation denotation analysis. Conclusion. I am fast today, but this example has been posted on the website. So if you want to take a look at the example, the original passage and a lot of details about the notes that we just went over are posted on there, and I'm recording. So, quick questions? Give me some. Chelsea. Oh, I'm sorry? Frog's going on symbol. Give me other images. Okay. It's not a town, city, but yeah, correct. Nagasaki. What else? Okay, although the robotic dog might be a symbol, you might consider the robotic dog a symbol and connecting to other symbols, but the dreamscape. Yes, Amber, the environment of the dreams. Very good. Emmy. Oh, the coolie. MJ. Coolie. Yeah, and both houses, actually. I would look at both houses. The house in Slocan and the house in Granton. The chicken coop in Granton, if you didn't pick that up. Okay. If you want to practice, you want to study for the test, pick a passage of one of these and think, how would I analyze that? How would I write that paragraph that Clarkson wants me to write? You might actually get that passage. Who knows? At least one of these is on a version of the test. I don't know. I have 3 different versions, but at least one of these is there. What do we do in symbol analysis? Now, Chelsea. Okay, so we have the 4 questions that we ask ourselves, and one is the definitional qualities. Call out the other questions. What's the next one? What's the description? Keep going. You're going too fast. What was the other question? Yeah, what does it do? And interaction. Good. Now Michael's answer. Michael was rushing a little bit too fast. These are the 4 questions for evidence. These are the questions you ask yourself if you're looking to grab evidence. They all lead to 2 important pieces of information. What's the first one? What does this thing represent? And what's the second question? What's the comment on that thing that it represents, or what's the author saying about that thing that it represents? So I could say that my travel mug represents justice. I don't know. But it's not enough just to say it represents justice. You'd have to say, okay, now what's the author using it to say about justice? So what's the discussion that's going on? There's your full symbol analysis. If you can generate data and then look to answering these 2 questions, then you've got it. But you must always be aware that when you are collating data, as any good scientist, that you're looking for patterns. Looking for patterns. And I'm sure on your list, you don't have just isolated symbol. You have patterns. So the frog entry your list is a symbol. Some of you maybe. The frog seems to bear similarities to other symbols in the novel. What other symbol seems similar to the frog? The chickens. What else? Cat. And the insects. So we have a bunch of animals in there running around, usually being horribly treated. Patterns. Don't say, but Mr. Clarkson, I never see another frog in the narrative. I know, but you see other animals, and often she draws attention to animals and insects. So now we have a symbol because we have pattern. Turn to chapter 20, pages 165 to 66. Kenji weighs the matter. Oh, but this is on 166, I believe. It starts at the bottom of 165, but I'm reading a passage from the top of 166. Kenji weighs the matter, then tosses the stick, with the insect still clinging tenaciously, into the stream. It bobs once, then rushes headlong downstream, and we run down following it till we come back to the log bridge. The insect is still on the stick, twirling in an eddy at the end of the bridge. We abandon it there, a tiny red dot bobbing and dancing in its whirlpool. All right, ask ourselves the question. It's an insect. What do we know about insects that might be important? They're small. Okay, good. Insects are small. What else? Very good. They are loathsome. People like to step on them. People freak out about spiders. How many people here freak out about spiders? You flip. I don't understand you people. But anyway, let's keep going. Yeah. Oh, yeah, it's red. Hold on. But that's going to connect to another symbol, right? So she's merging two symbols. Red is a symbol. The insect is a symbol. We have a merge point here. But keep them separate in your mind. So red is a separate symbol. Small, loathsome. They are also, folks, natural. Fucking right. Natural. Okay, so question one. Good. Description here. We notice that it's red, a tiny red dot. We notice that it's tiny. Any other description that we see here? It clings tenaciously. So that's part of what it does and part of how it's described. So it's clinging, it's tiny, and there might be some other description on the previous page. What is it doing? It's clinging tenaciously. What are other people trying to do to it? What's Kenji doing? Kenji tries to destroy it. And what about the others? They try to save it. So there's some kind of struggle over this. Your last bit, though, is to take everything you've just seen, and with imagery, you can stay on that passage. With symbol, it's important to cast your mind out to other points in the book where this appears again, and to gather evidence from that. So we have the red insect. What other insects do we have? Spiders. What other insects do we have? Mosquitoes. What other insects? Speak up, please. Maggots. Oh, yeah, I forgot about the maggots. Butterflies. All the dead insects in the home in Granton. It's 6. Well, symbol analysis is a larger discussion. So on the test, here's what you'll face, and I'll show you the test in a moment. You will receive one passage, and I'll say, I want imagery analysis, leading to about a paragraph, just like I showed you. You'll receive another passage, I'll say, give me 2 to 3 paragraphs on this, symbol analysis. So one image analysis, one symbol analysis. Let me show you what I'm doing here. Kogawa merges a number of insect images into a coherent symbol of Naomi and her fellow Japanese Canadians, representing their vulnerability and the disgust others feel for them. In fact, I think I already heard some people discussing this very thing. The image of the insect is necessarily one of vulnerability, and the Japanese Canadians demonstrate no power during the internment. Similarly, people usually reject insects as disgusting and loathsome, an opinion levied against the Japanese by everyone from adults in government to children in the school. The qualities of these bugs seem clearly linked to the Japanese Canadians. It's my claim, some definitional discussion. I'm basically giving you what it represents, and what the representation and the comment are leading my discussion. Now it's time for evidence. But more than that, Kogawa depicts insects at particular moments when they emphasize the events surrounding the novel's protagonists. When Naomi and Obasan fail to communicate and both hide from the truth of the past, Naomi observes a spider that comes into conflict with, but then leaps down the roadways of webs and disappears into the floorboards. Its flight mirrors Obasan's flight from the truth. Later, when the family moves to Slocan, Naomi and Stephen find the background suddenly swarming with butterflies. The golden brown winged things come down from the side of the mountain, fluttering awkwardly. The arrival in Slocan heralds a period of peace and relative comfort. The butterflies signal this. Finally, as the family's stay in Slocan comes to an end and worse times loom, Naomi and her school friends see a red insect in a creek. They watch it still clinging tenaciously into the stream. It bobs once, then rushes headlong downstream. As the insect holds on, so does the family. But as it approaches a whirlpool, its future seems uncertain. So too does Naomi's family's. Kogawa uses these insects to represent the variety of character moments and conflicts experienced by the Japanese Canadians throughout the novel. As the bugs go, so do the Japanese. If you look at that and you think, oh my gosh, there's no way. All it is 3 pieces of evidence with quotation integration that I've taught you. Actually, it's very simple and formulaic. It's big, but it's just formula repeated over and over. Come on, you can do it. Sorry, it's slowing down. Okay, here's where we are. Go to the website and read the test. Go to the website and read the test. Think about what do we have for symbols? Insects. What else? All the animals of all different sorts. What? White. What other color is important? Red's very important. What else? Blue, yellow. Trees are important. What else? Silence, although that's not a concrete object. Dolls, folks. Dolls and the stone bread. Study it. Prepare for it. If your imagery symbol journal is not up to date, you have a problem, because it is open book, open note, open your notes only, and if you have somebody else's imagery symbol journal, I will take it away from you. Open book, open note, so keep that in mind. I don't think the bells are working, so see you later.